the mom's like, can you please go get my kid dressed? Because I want to take my kid to church. And she's like, I don't think your son's old enough to understand church, so maybe don't bring him.
Right.
And the lady's like, I'd appreciate if you would just do your job.
Right.
That I pay you for.
Not your son.
Exactly. Fired.
Yeah.
Hell no.
How did we even get past that? How did they get past that? How was
Why
that
are you arguing with me
in
over
the house?
my kid? She had hell no all over her. But anyways, that's just me.
That's a great oh hell no moment, because should have never went past that. Ever.
You're fired. You can leave. Hey guys, welcome back to Sip and Scream, the spookiest cocktail hour on YouTube, brought to you by Burton and Burton, not Tim.
Tonight we're reviewing The Omen, OG 1976, and tonight's drink inspired by the movie is Bloody Sunday.
Stick around to the end of the video to get the ingredients for the drink. Cheers.
Okay, yeah.
It's good.
Is she bougie?
There's a lot of alcohol in there, and you can't even taste it.
You can't. It's like a slushie. It's like a bloody slushie.
A bloody slushie. Maybe we should have called it that.
Ooh.
Bloody slushie.
Bloody slushie.
Anyway, all right. So The Omen, 1976. Pattie, set it up.
Okay, so check it out. The Omen, OG 1976, is about a man. He's a politician. He's doing great. He's starting a family, and his child dies at birth. That child is replaced with the baby of a mother who died at childbirth. Everything's going well. It's going swimmingly. They move to the UK. He's an ambassador. He's living his dreams. And then that baby turns about 5. His name is Damien. And let's just say demonish Damien starts having some weird things manifest around in the world around him. His parents take notice. The priest who switched out the baby at birth has some news he just happened to forget to tell him, which is that he thinks the baby is cursed because of what they did. And you know, I think we find out from there that more sinister things are underway. So it's a classic. When did this movie pull you in?
It pulled me in immediately, honestly, because just the kind of backdoor dealings of his kid dying,
yeah,
and not telling the wife, and just adopting a random baby from the hospital and passing it off as his own, asking no questions, not telling his wife.
Right.
It is very hush hush, and he's okay with that. And so I was pulled in immediately by just that alone.
Yeah. Dang. Honestly, I have to say the same. I was like, see, the movies from the 90s and before, they really, especially the 80s and 90s, they were not afraid to hit on some crazy topics to like validate the storyline. Like, give me a good ass storyline. Don't just give me a bratty ass teenager for no reason.
We need backstory.
I need backstory.
We need character development.
Yes. Why is this the demon child from hell? And that was great, because I'm like, yeah, that was messed up. You did not tell your wife that y'all lost your baby, and then just replaced the baby and expected that to go well. Like, no, you got bad karma, my guy. I didn't feel bad for him at all.
Okay, so what was a moment in the movie that was just like hell to the no?
Oh, I will say the first one was Damien's badass in the car in front of the church. When he has his first freak out and he starts pulling the mom's hair, and I was like, nah, absolutely not. If you don't sit your little ass down, I don't care if you're a demon or not. That was my first like,
how dare you embarrass the ambassador?
Yes. Badass kid. Just, and they're like, oh god, you ain't pulling my hair out. Anyway.
Okay, so the birthday party. he was fine up until the birthday party, right? There was no issues. They're
Right.
having a good time. There's a whole like photo little montage of him growing up, and he's, nothing suspicious. And then it's only at the birthday party when his nanny commits suicide.
Right.
And said, what does she say? She says,
That's a great old hell no moment.
"It's all for you, Damien," and jumps to her death.
Yeah.
When it's like, sorry, what? All for you, Damien. Like, that's the
right.
parents. I'm like,
what's going on here?
This lady
right.
It was all hell no for me. And then
that's a good one.
Following that up, when the other nanny came to replace her out of nowhere, and I mean, good for them for questioning it. Like they both look at each other like, I thought you hired her. No, I thought you hired her. Let's get to the bottom of this. So they go approach her and they're like, hey, where'd you actually come from, Miss Baylock? And she's like, oh, from the agency. They saw on the news, about your past nanny and thought you needed a new one, so here I am. And she had hell no written all over her from the jump.
100%.
Because she should have been fired many times, Miss Baylock, because she's bringing in dogs. The man's like, ma'am, don't bring dogs up in here.
Right.
What are you bringing dogs in here for? And she's like, oh, your kid really likes it. And he's like, I don't care, get it out.
It's like a random Rottweiler.
And she doesn't listen.
Right.
And he has to tell her like 2-3 times about this dog. Fired. You're fired.
Fired.
And then also, she's arguing with the lady when she wants to take him to church. And the mom's like, can you please go get my kid dressed? Because I want to take my kid to church. And she's like, I don't think your son's old enough to understand church, so maybe don't bring him.
Right.
And the lady's like, I'd appreciate if you would just do your job.
Right.
That I pay you for.
Not your son.
Exactly. Fired.
Yeah.
Hell no.
How did we even get past that? How did they get past that? How was
Why
that
are you arguing with me
in the
over
house?
My kid? She had hell no all over her. But anyways, that's just me.
That's a great oh hell no moment, because should have never went past that. Ever.
You're fired. You can leave.
Next question. Did you have a jump scare moment?
Okay, so I feel like I had a couple different ones. Just because, well, first off, the music is really good in this movie. Like the score, just music throughout really helps the story along. But it's funny too, because I'm a person that is a little auditory sensitive, so for dialogue I have it all the way up. I'm turning it up so I can hear what they're saying. And then once the music starts and it's like 10 times louder than the freaking conversations, and I'm like, so there was an example with the newspaper, like when the one when the priest dies by stake, which that's where
through the body.
So it's a newspaper article, and he opens the newspaper and the music just like builds like crazy. It's not like a jump scare, but like the music kind of like, oh, you gotta turn it down. Those were my jump scares. What about you?
Yeah, I didn't really have a jump scare per se. Kind of like you, like it was just something that honestly kind of made me laugh too. Was the mom dying the way she did, or the first murder attempt, I will say that. So that leads me to my next question. Did you have a moment that you thought was funny, like a laugh out loud moment?
That's exactly the moment that I was laughing out loud.
The mom's death or the attempted murder?
Little man's on his trike. It's very much what is that movie with Jack Nicholson?
Yes,
in
The
hotel.
Shining.
The Shining. Thank you.
I yelled. I'm sorry, y'all.
And so obviously I think that came out after this, but very much like The Shining nodding.
To the Omen.
Seems like it, but Yeah, so him on his little trike, being bad, going around, da da da, and him hitting the ladder. And okay, first off, she's hanging there. There's other people
Right.
there. She's like, Damien, help me. But there's other adults you
Right.
could have called for
Called on the help of the toddler.
to help. Yeah, and then her fall was just.
Yeah.
It took 10 minutes.
It did.
It took 10 minutes
It
for her
did.
to fall. And then when she had her fall later in the film, also was like, and then poor lady, like, you survived that first fall, and then like they got you again with another fall. And Miss Baylock was
They got
behind
you
all
again.
of it. She's like, that bitch didn't die when I tried to get rid of her the first fall.
100%. I was thinking that specifically. That bitch didn't die.
Yeah. So she made sure it was done. She pushed her damn self. That was an LOL. Oh, I have one more. Another LOL for me was when the priest guy that got impaled, before he was impaled and he was trying to warn Robert, he was like, listen, man, I have some important things to tell you. It concerns your wife and it is life or death.
Right.
I know there's a rugby match going on right now, but we need to meet somewhere else so I can tell you what's going on. And then just like scurries off. And it's like, why can't you just tell him right there?
Right.
And then Robert just like, that was weird, and just like walks away, and you just see him walking away.
Right. Life or death. He's just like, nah. And still took it lightly.
Yeah, there's been things happening that might prove his warnings, to be cautious. And he's very
right. Kind of just like
dismissive.
He's arrogant about it. He's like, I did what I did. Nene Leaks, I said what I said. And just continued on with his life like he wasn't supposed to get this bad karma. I thought that was funny. I also thought the random rugby match was hilarious. I was like, the locations on this movie.
So funny.
For what?
It took me back. I played rugby for 5 months in college.
Well, excusez-moi.
I was 18, 19 years old.
In college, that you must have been pretty good. I mean, they don't just let anybody play in college.
It wasn't a school team. It was a club.
Oh. Still.
There was no tryouts.
I feel like rugby is smart football.
We did travel, and I did like it, but I got an underage drinking ticket and took myself off the team because I was like, Whitney,
you're responsible.
You need to chill out.
So she said,
what? As I sit here with this bloody Sunday.
With this bloody Sunday. Just another blood.
Okay, so yeah, what was your LOL? Laugh out loud.
I'm
moment.
Like, speaking of the rugby match and the priest delivering the bad news, the priest death. I said, not him
impaled
and waiting for it. No.
Okay, another favorite part, kind of circling back to the beginning of the movie with uncovering the body of the mother of Damien.
Yeah.
And seeing that his child actually was killed at birth. Not that I don't want to say it's my favorite, but it was enlightening part of the movie.
You know what? Maybe you could explain that to me more.
Sure.
Because okay, when they dug up the mom's side of the grave, it looked like a big old animal skull.
Right. And
so I missed it. What did they say happened to the mom? Or did they ever explain that?
I think there was a moment where he was trying to tell the mother was and then thunderclaps, or he starts to say dog, or he starts to say jackal, because he's like, you're referring to my wife. And he's like, no, not your wife. The mother is a thunderclap, jackal, dog. I don't know what he said specifically, but clearly that was the boat. Yeah. And he's like, I saw the birth. Right?
Wow.
And then the fact that
I missed that.
And like, I think at one point somebody says it's written that the Antichrist will be the son of a politician. So they orchestrated this, right?
Mhm.
They set it up so that
Oh.
when the wife was having their baby, they killed it on purpose
Right.
to replace it. Which it's interesting because they could have just not told him, I guess. They could have switched
Right.
the babies.
Right. He just would have never known
Yeah.
that his.
I also really appreciated the photographer too. Him kind of finding out this like final destination kind of thing that's going on through the photos, like
Yeah.
in the priest's photo, in
Yeah.
his own photo.
Right.
And that was wild. That was a wild death.
Ooh, that was good. That was a good death.
What I appreciated too is like,
That was a good death.
man, the angles on which that man was decapitated. They're like,
oh yeah,
and like the instant replay.
It
was an instant replay of his decapitation. That was fun.
Yeah.
But also like it was bothering me too because I recognized him. He happens to be in the movie Ninja Turtles Part 2 with the ooze, the shredder, and he's like the scientist. I don't know if you know Robert. He is Atticus Finch. Atticus Finch in To Kill a To Kill a Mockingbird. Classic movie and wonderful of its time. But yeah, he's the same guy. Gregory Peck.
Gregory Peck.
R.I.P. My man. Ratings.
Okay, let's do ratings in 3, 2, 1, 7. That's the first time we had a.
That's the first time we've landed on the same exact number.
Yeah. 7. Okay, why 7 for you?
7 for me. Okay, so I credit this movie of being ahead of its time, of being a pioneer in the horror space, a pioneer in especially religious horror.
Bold choice.
Yeah, and just even like tying together these things of like the Mark of the Beast and 666. Just you know, in 1976, like doing that and just making all these bold choices and laid a kind of blueprint and inspiration for horror going forward.
Yeah.
Is it my favorite horror movie? No. Did I get bored a lot? Kinda. But I appreciate it. Of then
Kinda.
I could have used more just Damien the kid in itself. But again, it was called The Omen. It wasn't necessarily about specifically the kid.
It wasn't called Demon Baby from Hell. Yeah.
So I guess that's fine. But yeah, 7. Solid 7.
Solid 7. I agree. Honestly, for a lot of those same points. I thought it was really cool. Like it wasn't tropey at all, and I don't know if it was because it was too early to be a tropey or not. But like as far as setting the trend, setting the tone, touching on a lot of these topics, the topic of abortion, the fact that her, doctor recommended it because of her mental health, and that was the time like
go against
like
her decision,
right? Like where she was not being included in any of these conversations, and I don't know why, but I saw it as a nod to why they had so much bad luck. Like they were the amount of shady stuff that was going on where she did not have autonomy over her body. Like if she had some say in any of this, because the second that woman felt like this is not my baby, the second she felt like something was off, she clocked it quick. And if she had been a part of these conversations from the jump, maybe none of this would have happened. So to me, and maybe it wasn't a nod to that, but to me, I was like, well, that's what you get. To me, it helped set up that they deserved everything they got.
So another LOL moment for me. They're laying in bed, Kathy and Robert, and I just thought it was hilarious. I did laugh out loud because there's this picture of Kathy in like a plate portrait frame on his nightstand Why does somebody need a picture of their spouse at their bedside table when you're looking at your spouse every day?
Because he loved that hoe.
That.
Do I do it? No.
Come on.
But I don't got the love of my life.
Nobody does that.
I didn't notice that. But I think it is funny because a random other LOL moment I had was how distraught he was after she died. And he went to that same bed when he was back at the house contemplating if he was going to kill their son. And he just stares at the bed. And he's just distraught. And I'm like, you weren't that distraught when you were switching out babies without telling her. Mm. You weren't that distraught when you didn't believe her that you had a demon baby. All of a sudden, you love her.
I thought he did really love her.
I do think he did love her, which is why I think it's funny because that you mentioned the picture. Because I think they were trying to show that. Even though he made the world's worst decisions, he loved her so much. Yeah. So that's why I think you had that picture.
I want someone to love me that much.
That's
just
what
kidding.
I'm saying.
I'm cutting that out.
Okay. Well, look, that's what I'm saying. I want somebody got me on their bedside table.
Can anybody find me somebody to love?
Burton and Burton.
Peace out.
We out.
We out.